If you are like me and you are constantly running off-meta weapons like the crossbow, the striker, the Rytech launcher, the fire shotguns, you get the picture. It's usually a good idea to have a backup weapon to have with you for when the time is right and when those really weird weapons are not in that specific situation that they excel in. Now, yes, most people in this situation would use like a Bruin, the Growl, or recently the Kilo, but in my mind, why would you use any of those guns when you could use an SMG that has further damage values than all of those weapons, deals more damage per shot at range than all of those weapons, and has the handling stats of an SMG? Yep, you heard me right. There's an SMG in this game that outperforms most ARs. Oh my god, Uzi is broken. And yes, okay, it's with an ammo conversion kit. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. Welcome back to Break the Meta, the show where I shave my head from stress trying to find weird weapons in Warzone, and so far we've covered a decent amount. We've covered the old fire shotgun, we've covered the Striker 45, we've covered the crossbow, but what exactly do you run alongside these really weird specific situation weapons? Let's get into it. Now, yes, you could use all of the aforementioned weapons earlier, Bruin, Growl, Kilo, but again, why would you use those when you could just go full off meta with it and grab an SMG? The Uzi was a joke weapon for a long time. It had pitiful damage values, and it didn't really have a good time to kill, and didn't have great range, and why would you use it over the other SMGs? That is, until Action Express rounds were added into the game, and now it's the secret sauce dark horse of Warzone that nobody expects, but everybody fears. Why exactly does this thing work so well? Well, the Action Express rounds have a very, very long damage range values. And I mean very, very far. To the point where, if you can land your shots, you will be dealing more damage at long range than most assault rifles and even most of the LMGs in this game. The only problem is how bouncy the recoil is. So how do we combat that? Let's get on to the build. Now, as you can see, this build is a little bit different than what has been in the vast majority of the video, and that's because since doing a lot of recording for this video, I have since tweaked my build and tweaked certain things here and there, just to my own personal preferences. And that's the beautiful thing about this Uzi, is that there's not one or two attachments that are absolutely necessary, minus the monolithic and the 41 Action Express rounds, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The build that I've been currently using is the monolithic suppressor with commando foregrip, tac laser, corp combat hollow sight, the 41 Action Express rounds, and that is it. The thing is, with this build, this gun, it's not a laser beam, but it makes it much more consistent, and I just find a lot easier time aiming with the hollow sight rather than the iron sights, which tend to block out the majority of the screen. If you like the Uzi iron sights, use the iron sights by all means, but for me, I just seem to have more consistent results with a hollow sight. And you could go with the Merc foregrip, which is what I have used in the past, but recently I've switched over to the commando foregrip, and if you're not bothered by more vertical recoil, it's much more consistent in terms of the side-to-side wobble that the Uzi has. With this build, you're basically getting a AR with faster handling, faster equip speed, and with more damage range than most of the ARs. Like, this thing competes with the Finn in just terms of how far away you can hit your targets and still do maximum damage to them. It's hilarious. Now for the downsides. First of all, the ammo. While it is powerful, 32 rounds is a pretty small magazine size, which hinders you in 1vx fights when you're dealing with multiple opponents. On top of that, the recoil. Ugh, this recoil is bouncy. I am not going to make two bits about it. This thing, it's hard to hit your shots with. But if you can mount it, it's much more manageable. And with the commando foregrip, the side to side isn't terrible, it's just the vertical recoil. And that's it. Granted, those are two pretty large downsides, but the upsides I feel like way outweigh those. Which, speaking of, The upsides of this weapon, summed up in a TLDR fashion, are great damage values and a very long damage range, meaning that you'll be able to outdamage others at that medium to long range. Number 2, it has amazing handling stats. You are getting a AR/LMG performing weapon that has the handling stats of an SMG, meaning your movement speed, your aim down sight speeds, your weapon swap speeds are all going to be faster than most weapons. And number 3 is the surprise factor. Yeah, okay, I'm stretching a little bit on this one, but anytime you run something that's off meta, you have that surprise factor on your side, because you know what your gun does, you know your damage ranges and exactly how it's going to function, whereas your opponent that you're shooting at has no idea what's going on. Finally, will this gun break the meta? And truthfully, it just might. With the recent nerfs to the Bruin, and then before that the Grau, and now we have the Kilo on the rise, it's a lot of these long-range melting machines that don't have a lot of damage per shot, but have really good recoil control. The Uzi will actually outperform the Kilo at most ranges, as long as you can hit those bouncy shots. I feel like the Uzi is just extremely powerful in a wide array of different situations, and it's just the Swiss Army knife of a gun. Like, this thing does a lot of things very, very well. And if I'm gonna run something super specialized, like the Rytec launcher sniper rifle or a crossbow or a shotgun, then having something that just performs super well at a wide variety of ranges is really nice just to have in my ass pocket to whip out when push comes to shove. What do you guys think? Have you tried the Uzi with Action Express rounds? Are you gonna try this build out? If you try out the build, please let me know how it goes down below, and if you have any other suggestions for off-meta weapons, again, comment down below of those weapons so that way I can check them out. Also, if you want to go ahead and check out my live stream, feel free to do so. I stream live right here on YouTube. I don't have a consistent schedule because I do work full-time, but be sure to drop by because we are playing Warzone, we are playing Ghost of Tsushima, which is a completely blind playthrough that I know nothing about, and I am absolutely loving it. So be sure to drop by and say hi. Anyway, guys, until next time, take care.